All right, let's go racing, ladies and gentlemen. Round 7 of the Aussie Racing's GT3 Championship is underway, and let's have a look at them all come firing down into turn 1. Dan Smith leads, but look at the start from Fallon. He goes up into second position. Duffy just hanging it fat around the outside there with Ferber, and Smith slotting into P5 as well. There goes Cookie up the inside of Marshall. That's a nice little move from him in the Porsche, but now they all check up and they go 2 by 2 round the turn 6, turn 3, 4, and into turn 4 and out through the main straight for the first time. You can get a look at them all just weaving up and down. It looks like Fallon just trying to warm up the tyres down the back straight before they dive into turn 6 for the first time with cold tyres. Look at that Mustang on the charge. Who is that? That is JJ Hamilton, Michael Budge, should I say. Let's see how he's going. He's got Matt Munro behind him, and the Aston Martin of Payrac, who's gone down the order to 12th position. Oh, just clattering across the curbs there. I'll tell you what, Budge is not going to, but he needs to here at the moment because it's just proving to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle. But let's go up to the front because the battle's on here for P2. Garth Duffy right up behind Luke Fallon, and that was a pretty nicely, cleanly done first lap from these guys.
Yeah, very well done. Nice and well, I guess what you could call single file, but a little bit of tomfoolery off the start there. Fallon's jumped from 4th into 2nd place, so he can see that Castrol Mustang in front of him, his main target, so he needs to get himself right up there again. How long can he last there, though, with the ergonomics in the sim rig department? Not ideal for him, but Duffy right there too. You can see now Townend here has just gone a little bit wide there. JJ Hamilton's charging his way through the field. He's gone from 11th up to 9th. In a lap and a half now for these boys. Beautiful, beautiful overtaking manoeuvres could be set up down this straightaway at the section of Sandown that we all love. The uphill, long back straight. You can see the whole track from the grandstand. The guys will be cheering them on in there, but Payrac has had an absolute disaster there. He was right up there in 5th place, now down in 12th. Oh, whoa. No, there goes Bunga Road. See you later, Alligator. Sent it into the absolute Kundagonskis. He will be full on, absolutely pissed off with that one. Look at that, checked him up into the barriers and go. That's a DNF for him. That car is written off. 100% done for him already. Early outage, early casualties, but look at Payrac now. He just got a beautiful run out of the final corner there. But this is on here because we've got Smith and the chef going with each other here too. This is good stuff. Marshall right there as well. In the background, we're looking at it. The price is right. He's trying to get himself. Look at that for a sender end down the inside. Beautiful, beautiful driving. Now we've got 5 cars in view, ladies and gentlemen, on the chopper cam. You can see how they all go about it. Late apexes, early entrances, you name it. They're all filing their way through the turns 2, 3 chicane. Now it's out the other side of turn 4. Then we've got a straight to go. And at the background of this one, it's all happening here. JJ Hamilton's getting himself involved at the back of this pack. We're on Kobe Marshall here. He is looking for a little bit of a threat in front, but I'll tell you what, the price is right. He's trying to hound him. Beautiful, beautiful racing. All line astern here. 5 manufacturers all in the one car shot. Not often you see that. Look at them navigate turn 6. Dandenong Road, full aggression over the curbs. They're going to get it pulled up there. Oh, massive, massive move in the background. And there goes a Duff Man. No way! No. Oh, disaster for Mr. Blendline TV. There's some battle scars on the front bumper as well of that car too. Have to see how he goes about it in a second, but the price is right. Has got himself up into 6th place where he started in the race. Oh, the poor old Duff Man. A casualty early on in this race. 3 minutes into an hour session. He will be kicking himself, and into the background goes Payrac into the pits.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. He had a bad start as well, and now that's just compounded. Look at the inside run there from Hamilton. Really deep under brakes, and that's just opened him up to the switchback. And Pricey says, I'll have that one, mate. $2.99 $1 a kilo. Thank you very much. I'll have that. The price is right this time. But up ahead, Dan Smith leads by about 2.5 seconds to Luke Fallon. Who's that? Matt Munro just travelling slowly, trying to get that BMW back to the pits and try to stay out of everyone's way. Doing a good job so far, and I think the nice little gap has opened up behind him to keep that straight and narrow to the pits. But here's the battle up here. I'll tell you what, Price and Hamilton, we saw with a massive big send into turn 1, has managed to gather it back up, and now he's on the attack again. He's got only about 4 tenths to make up, and that's not a lot around this circuit. I'll give you the hot tip. It was a nice little move there, but let's go back and have a look at the crash from the Duff Man back a bit earlier, if I can find it. Yeah, Duffy has gone off the track. Where is it? Oh my goodness. We'll have to come back to that one. Maybe this is it here, folks. He's heading down through. Yeah. just got a bit too overzealous with the curbing. It can happen in these cars with the downforce, and you get too much of an air gap in between that floor and the road. Anything can happen, folks, but the battle's on. Up and down the field. Where do we look? Kobe Marshall. Actually, we'll go on board with the blimp cam because it's got a nice view of all 6 of these guys going hammer and tong.
As they all stream out just a little bit evenly there, it's a nice even spread between a lot of them. Duffman just ran too wide and too fast into turn 6, and that is what put him off completely. That's why he overshot this curb right there and lost it completely and sent him off into the right-hand side barrier there. That is what happened to the beer man. Unfortunately, as you said, yep, dirty air, Christopher, but also just a bit overzealous in the pace department. The old talent outweighing the ambition, and unfortunately it came a proper to him. But it's getting a bit closer here now. The chef is just starting to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle. He might have Gordon Ramsay in his ear, but if he gets overtaken, I'll tell you what, Marco Pierre White will be looking at him and going, sir, now that performance was a little bit below par. Wouldn't you agree? And then he'll absolutely shit himself. And that at the point at the time, he'll absolutely cross himself up into turn 6 and yeet it into the barrier Duffman style. But he's doing a good job here at the moment. He hasn't got Marco in his ear. It's just Gordon Ramsay shouting at him in an encouragement style. 3rd place for him with 4/10 of a gap between himself, but 3.5 seconds between himself and Luke Fallon. He's starting to get a bit of a pressure point motors for these boyos now. And you can see Smith, Marshall, Price, Hamilton all wanting to join that party and take away that podium too. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen.
But look at this, Cookie just hanging on as well. You can see Brett Smith there in the rearview mirror, very close. You can almost see the whites of his eyes through the windscreen. That's Dan Smith off the road there. We've seen him just way too deep down into turn 9, off into the kitty litter, and this has absolutely just handed Luke Fallon a massive lead out there by 3.5 seconds to Greg Cook, and Smithy just find himself right smack bang in the middle of this battle pack now.
Oh, disaster there for the race leader. He had it all to win, and he's just binned himself Osama bin Laden style out into the rough, and he's gone into the sand, in fact, just to put another impression on him.
By Greg Cook, he's got the best seat in the house. Just watching all of them line up behind him, and it's always been this way, folks. It's a hard circuit to force an overtake at, especially here at the top level of sim racing, folks, where it takes more than just being in the mirrors of the driver in front. They're not going to go and just make a mistake and give you the position. You really need to force it and drive to the conditions, maybe set it up chess style, thinking 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 corners or even laps ahead to try and set up the overtake on some of these really experienced sim racers out there.
The old chess versus checkers sort of scenario, Christopher, as you love to say. And it is going to be a game of that here. We have got 50 minutes left, just 49, in fact, left in this race. And the boys are putting on a show here early. This is fantastic stuff. And in the GT3 car, where you've got no excuses but downforce limitations, it's a fantastic track to race around on in any category is Sandown. It's a shame that it could be gone from our calendar, just like Oran Park, one of the best circuits in the world, I would say.
Easily.
Also, now just a bloody housing estate full of derelicts, and every second Thursday, Centrelink specials coming through, meth labs, bloody drug runners, you name it. Oran Park's turned into bloody meth park.
Yeah.
And,
who's that on?
Oh, that's bad. No, that's a back marker. Okay. We got excited. I just feed off the energy in the commentary box. Christopher just jumped out of his seat there, and I nearly just jumped out of mine too. But look at Price's rider. He's doing a fantastic job. The Tassie Devil livery is absolutely tornadoing his way through this grid. He's got Dan Smith behind him, who's just creeping up ever so slowly. The battling is all the way here and up the front as well, between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th and 9th. It's literally all between 5 or 6/10 of a second. Again, this DRS train, as you will, is full on just giving us something to look at on the timing tower, Christopher. It's on.
Yeah, it's very deceptive because it's always just lighting up red and going, here's an overtake, lads, lulling me into a false sense of deception. If you will. But these guys are just hammer and tong, and no one has made a mistake yet. That's what I'm saying here, and just setting myself up for a commentator's curse in that department. But it's a Cookie, though, has just eked out a half a second gap, which is probably the biggest he's had this whole race with this absolute train behind him. Brett Smith is the next one there, just can't quite get it done. Dan Smith has done the right thing, and Duffman, they've both said, you know what, I've had a gutful, an absolute gutty of this and pulling into the pit lane early with, only 15 laps on the counter here at the moment. So they will be fueled up to the end to try and find some fresh air to get out there and set some laps. But it's a tight-looking circuit out there as well, Zach O'Reilly.
That was the difference there. Full switch and gone. There goes Brent Smith. Oh, no goodness me, into the wall he goes as well. That looks like suspension damage too. That car is full right hand down on the rear suspension department. Oh, no. Disaster. One Smith's gone early. The other one's out later in the race. He is absolutely cactus here. He's got no drive. That drive shaft is just hanging off one wheel at the moment. Oh, boy, he's teleported and telepitted there too as well.
Actually, I like that.
Telepitted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll keep that one now in the commentary box. We'll add that one, Chris. He's telepitted back, and that is a DNF there, unfortunately, for Mr. Smitho, unless he can get back out. But as I was saying, Furby could have just been a little bit more aggressive there on the defensive department. Smith saw the opportunity and went for it. The old Ayrton Senna style there. If there is no longer if you do not go for an overtake or a gap, you are no longer a racing driver. I think that's what he said, something like that. But anyway, it's the age-old thing. But look at Dan Smith. He's just going for it here. He's got Ding Dong in front of him, and he's going to Ding Dong his way back out to the top of the chapel and say, I'm ringing the bell here for the wedding day. Done, easy as you like, up on the inside curb, out the other side onto the other curb, and Dan Smith up into P10 on a redemption drive. But the chef now is under pressure. He had 0.6 of a second over the rest of the field, and he's just losing that time by the second here now. He has got Prices right behind him in one of them. There he's got Duffman also trying to chime his way back into this one, but before him at the moment is Marshall. You can see Marshall there just having a good old look on the slipstream, on board with Price. And Price is now just getting out of that dirty air, just cooling those down, getting the engine temp down again. And he's just watching these boys, hoping that the chef makes a mistake. And I'll tell you what, if he does, Marshall will be all over him. Price will be all over him too. And it could be all out of the podium for the chef man before he knows it.
It's a tall order to sit there and wait for Cook to make a mistake, because I can't recall him making a mistake this entire season so far. He's just been the pillar of consistency out there as well. And all the guys that were stuck in that train behind him know it. That's why they got out of there and got into the pits, because I think that's their only chance to overtake Cookie is in the pits at this point, because he's just got the measure of them all in that Porsche. Now is probably an opportunity here for Marshall and co to try and chime in here, because he's got a couple of blue flags to deal with, but that Mustang getting out of the way absolutely beautifully, mind you, did not cause any sort of headaches for anyone in that little battle pack. But now look at Price. He's just had a pretty good run out of there, but I'll tell you what, you need to have an absolutely A1 10 out of 10 run to make any sort of move stick in the top end of this field. As I said before, they're very consistent drivers up the front. If you're sitting in fourth P4, you've got to be pretty happy with finishing P4 if you know what I mean. There's not really much you can do about it in some cases. You just got to wave the white flag and carry on to the end. But oh, look at this. That doesn't mean he's not going to give it a good old red hot crack and stick the nose in there, because these three are now very close, heading up to turn 6 here for the 22nd time.
I'll tell you what, I bet you the chef there was wishing that Mustang didn't get out of the way at that point. He would have loved a bit of suckage down that back straightaway, but he's still surviving here in P2. The old Far North Queensland comes into the pits for 14th. Look at the behaviour over the curbs there too, mind you. That was just insane from all of them. They fully committed, and I think that just hurt the chef there on the exit. He's trying to push too hard into Dandenong Road, and he's making himself vulnerable. This is where Marshall was right up his clacker the last time around as well. He's just got to focus on braking a little bit earlier there as the chef man and get himself pointed out the other side cleanly, because this gap is just going to ever decrease down the front straightaway. The old slipstream and the dirty air is not negated at the moment. They're getting a whole punch from that Porsche in front of them. Are these two drivers behind him? It is fantastic racing. They're going about it cleanly and fairly. Oh, that looked a little bit wide there from the chef there. He just pulled it up at the last moment coming out of turn 1. Turn 2 and 3 to navigate. Come over the curbs. Get yourselves pointed up. Just avoid that outside curb if you're a Porsche driver. Ferrari doesn't matter, because they're mid-engine versus rear, so the pendulum effect is not on. Now he's thinking about it. Here is Marshall. He's got a little bit of a gap. 3.5 tenths is the gap now. It's ever decreasing because he's in that hole punched by that Porsche in front of him. It's going to come down to about 0.3 of a second dead on by the time they come to the braking zone here. Now it's 2 tenths on board on Chef's car. You can see that Ferrari just ever edging so much closer. He's taking my advice there as a Chef. He's going to fall. Look at that. That is what happens when you come into a corner early and power out the other side. You've got 0.4 of a second now between the rest of your drivers. That is what you need to do, Chef, lap after lap, and it's just going to negate that chess player behind you, trying to play checkers with you. And I'm telling you now, beautiful racing from these three. It is fantastic. Porsche, Ferrari, McLaren, P2, 3 and 4.
It's a defensive masterclass, folks, and for those playing at home, when you hear people talk about slow in, fast out, that is exactly what they are talking about. Just break of maybe 2-3 meters earlier than you would usually. Make sure of all things you get to that apex first, then you can apply the power even earlier than you normally would, just slingshotting your way out, and there's really not much anyone can do about it. If you are on point, if you get your turn in and everything correct, you do that for the next 20, 35 minutes, you just can't be overtaken. That's just the name of the game, folks, and Cook just showing us all how it's done here at the moment. A pillar of consistency. Well, I've called him that before tonight, and I've got a feeling I'm going to have to call him that again if he does not succumb to the commentator's curse that we are placing on him right now with all these nice comments. So we'll go and we can't really take the eyes off him here at the moment because it's all happening, and they're very close on circuit. Maybe Price is the next one to have a little dip here at Kobe Marshall in front, as you can see, but all three of these guys very evenly paced here at the moment, with the Chef just holding them at bay in the cooker there under the heat lamps, and whenever the number is called, when the bell rings, it's your turn to take the dinner out to the table.
Yeah, no covers here at the moment for Chef. He's just cruising along. He knows what to do. He's got the kitchen under control so far. I don't know what his livery is. There's 3 X's versus, and then a 6 in the Roman numerals in front of him. Is that the old 6-incher in the bragging department there, Christopher? I'm not too sure. The old triple X 6-inch coming his way for the Chef. Or is that the amount of covers he's done in his lifetime? I'm not too sure. What is X? 10, 20, 30. 30 plus 6. 36 covers is his record. I would say there for the Chef to get himself into Hell's Kitchen, and he's done so nicely. He's got a blue flagger in his way here at the moment, so hopefully that guy gets out of the way very, very quickly. The erection is into the pits as well. He's going to stock up on the Viagra there and get himself back up into the points playing positions there, quite literally as well. 27 minutes gone out of this 60-minute, so we're nearly that halfway point, and it's looking very toey here because that blue flagger is not wanting to get out of the way, but he'll just maybe do it here into turn 1, we hope. No, he's not. In fact, goodness gracious me, this is going to hold the Chef up. Absolutely, he'll be flashing those lights. Now he gets out of the way, finally, just at the point of not there. The old vinegar stroke was about to happen there for the Chef, and he came out on top, luckily, but it's 4.5 tenths now. Just a bit of an error there, too, in the background. They've all sort of come wide. That blue flagger is just nowhere, and Price is wrong, just had to get checked up, and here comes the beer man onto his redemption drive. He has come back through the field. He was off in turn 7 turn 9, in fact, at lap 2, and he's found himself up in 50 already under the halfway mark. This man is on an absolute charge as the beer man, sinking pints left, right and centre per lap, and it's coming to fruition here, 0.1 behind the wheel.
On the performance-enhancing substances, and I've always said it, a couple of beers before a race, it calms your nerves. And
the Wheat Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually saw a scientific study. I don't know if it was peer-reviewed or whatnot, but the perfect amount of beers to have before you start a race is 2.5 if you consume 2.5 standard drinks before you go racing. That is kind of the crossover point of...
What about mid-race?
Mid-race? Well, yeah, it works there too. Once you get settled into a rhythm, there's no nerves at all, and you're off to the races, basically, literally. But I think, just a couple, 2.5 to be, in fact, before the start of the race. And I'm not being paid by the alcohol companies, however, mind you, folks. But if you do, in fact, own a pub in Brisbane and would like to get on board with a bit of a sponsorship here to Simsational TV, you know where the Discord is, down the bottom of your screen. Give us a like and subscribe as well if you haven't already on the video and the channel. Get involved, like the video, sub, and hit the bell for when we go racing next, which is a fair bit lately, ladies and gentlemen. So any pubs out there that want to get involved, please do so.
Drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Never get behind the wheel in real life over the limit, for sure. That's fair old slow in the old pace department. But I'll tell you what, Dan Smith now is looking on the back here of Marshall. Marshall is yet to think about that man behind him. He's thinking about what he can do, but I'll tell you what, that apex speed there of that Mustang is so superior to that Ferrari of Marshall. He's going to be all over him like a rash there after a good old orgy on a Sunday. It's after 8:30, Chris.
Yeah.
And he's going to go try and trailer park early. No, he's gone up the inside. He's gone around the outside, gone back up the inside
Look
again.
at that.
And that's dummy, the old Marshall. Oh, he had absolutely shut himself there to the copper. Thought he was in a hot pursuit 2 game, and I'll tell you what, Smith and him are going 2 by 2 into the chicane. That never works out, but it somehow has. Goodness gracious me, that is enforcement there from Dan Smith. He does not give a rat's toss bag. That is pay rack in front of him, going very slow at the exit of turn 4. He's going to have to get out of this one. Is the old pay rack, because he's just lost a position there. He is right for position too. He's in the pit stop strategy window as well. So he has lost that one all by himself. Dan Smith gets a P5, easy as you like, full enforce that move. Marshall won't be too happy about it, but geez, I'll tell you what, he did nothing but psychologically abuse him into turn 1, did Dan Smith, and said, I'll get you back this way, that way, whatever, and he's full on got the job done. P5 here for Dan Smith, starting off P1 in this race. And I'll tell you what, he's on the charge here. 36 minutes, in fact, just about gone in this one. We've got 24 to go until that timer ticks down. And boy, oh boy, is this starting to turn into a story here.
Oh, it certainly is. Yeah, I think the pit stop overall cost you about 30 seconds, so he's still about 6 or 7 seconds off the lead, going by my quick math here at the moment. So we're about halfway through, so we're going to see those top guys who have not pitted yet. That is the top 4 of Fallon, Cook, Duffy and Green. And Payrach as well, just behind Dan Smith at the moment. Those guys are in the top 6, have not served their pit stop, but I'm sure they will soon enough.
I'm up out of my seat, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys aren't at home, I can give you the hot tip. This is on like Donkey Kong. This is for the final place on the podium at the moment here. We've got 7 minutes to go, 6.5 minutes, in fact, between the two of them. This is beautiful racing. Look at Dan Smith behind, the ever-aggressor in this race. Had it all to win and lost it there early on in this race. He's putting all the blowtorches on. He's getting into the kitchen, in fact, there. Brendan Haxter style on the big man in front of him. Beautiful driving from the both of them. Beautiful awareness. He knows the chef has got pace as Dan Smith, so he's giving him some respect, but he's trying to psychologically disadvantageous him into any defensive line, and he has done so there into the final chicane. Beautiful stuff there, but I'll tell you what, the chef has got a beautiful run out of turn 13, slaps it in through the gears. Dan Smith's just right there. He's not close enough here for an overtake. He'll go to the left, he'll go to the right just to show those rear vision mirrors full of a Castrol Mustang. Beautiful stuff here from these three. They are absolutely on like Donkey Kong for this final stanza here of the race. And I'll tell you what, Dan Smith is just going for it. He thinks this is the grandstand finish. He's the place getter. He is the absolute championship leader here at the moment. He's just showing the nose there to the old chef, trying to dummy you into any sort of outbreaking maneuver he possibly can. But the chef is immune to all that. He's got Marco Pierre White's beautiful calm voice in his cockpit at the moment, just giving him the old crew chief establishment. Dan Smith trying to go Gordon Ramsay himself through yelling style, but the chef is holding up. Look at this into turn 6. Just beautiful racing from these two.
Whoa.
Respect awareness. Oh my goodness me! Dan Smith just tried to force the overtake and turn him around. He'll try to punt him back around too, and oh my goodness me! Up to the old start-finish straight they go in the same position. Marshall will be looking at this going, how the hell am I only 2 seconds away from these boys now? He could be in for half a sniff. Dan Smith has been the aggressor all night, ladies and gentlemen. Just outweighed his ambition there, punted the old Cook around, and I'll tell you what, that could be on like Donkey Kong if these two trade positions in the last 5.5 minutes of this one.
Yeah, we're going to go on board to see if there was any damage incurred from that little exchange 100%. There from both of these guys. Let's see what the cockpit here of Dan Smith. It looks to be pretty straight indeed. We'll go to Cookie, and it looks, yeah, that looks all right as well. Just certainly some aero damage though for both of those guys, but he just plowed into the side of that poor old Porsche. That's going to hurt him down the main straight, as if it wasn't bad enough with a Mustang trying to chase you down. Luckily, the straight here at Sandown is not that very long. I've just swallowed my own spit, ladies and gentlemen. It's all happening here in the commentary box. But Dan Smith just searching for a way around. This is a championship leader, folks. Greg Cook in second position. So big turns of the tide in the old championship points deciders. This is a Piastri Lando sort of stuff here at the moment. And I'll tell you what, Cook has not set a foot wrong all night. Dead set. He's on star for 3 Michelin stars here at the moment, and he's only got another 4.5 minutes to hold on, and he's just been doing such a beautiful job of it. I don't think there's much that Dan Smith can do apart from just wave the white flag and give him a little round of applause and say, mate, well done, great drive, good on you, son, you deserve P3.
Yeah, at this stage it's looking pretty good, but now the chef's gone to defensive mindset too early, I reckon. He just needs to stick to his racing line, because Dan Smith just needs half an invitation back up the clacker of him, and that's all that it will take. Look at that Mustang front bumper there. It is literally as cross-eyed as Steady Eddie here at the moment. Goodness gracious me. It is full on like Donkey Kong here. It's showing the nose left and right. Up the inside tries to Dan Smith. He's tried the late braking manoeuvre again. The chef is just going full defensive mode here. He's just putting the car half a car width too early onto the apex. That's going to invite Dan Smith, but Dan Smith can see that coming, so he's trying to do the old defensive masterclass here as the chef on the old covers. He's got 39 on his way at the moment, full under the pressure point motors. We've got 3.5 minutes to go in this one. It is on like Donkey Kong for the final podium positions. P1 and 2 is absolutely secured, barring an absolute disaster. Can the chef here hold on between the absolute masterclass of Dan Smith leading this championship? P1 and 2 in it, in fact, and they're going at it, just showing us how to go racing here. Smith's gone wide there. Chef's just apexed that beautifully and survived another one. It's 4.5 tenths of a second only between P2 and 3. 3 and 4, sorry. Goodness gracious me, in the fair dinkum department. Have these boys shown he doesn't care about the championship. He just wants a podium position to get onto the interviews here at Simsational TV for the post racer. 2.5 minutes to go, Christopher. This is on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and now enjoying the biggest gap that he's had in the past few laps. 4 tenths. That must seem like an absolute age there for Greg Cook. He can finally breathe out, blink a few times, take a little sip of water or whatever he's got. Turn the sausages, whatever he's got cooking there next to him on the old camp oven. I'm sure there's something going on, but he is now, 2 minutes to go. The last couple of laps here, ladies and gentlemen. We might see some desperation from the Mustang driver behind. The front of that thing is absolute. Look at how close he is there. You can see it's had more hits than Elvis on the front of that bloody Mustang as well. So he's not afraid to chuck it in there and have a bloody, let the sim racing gods decide. He's about less than a tenth here now. Whoa, very close down into turn 6. Just holding on his cookie. Goes half defensive now. Dan Smith looking for the inside or the outside late apex run down into turn 10 and 11. It's not going to happen because Cook's aware of it. Goes half defensive, leaves his car where it needs to be. It's a half block pass and he'll just take that outside run, and it's play on here for sheep stations. Dead set in the fair dinkum department.
New Zealanders here will be absolutely stroking themselves here, waiting for that vinegar stroke, because there's on-dog sheep stations here. We've got 2 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen, keeping an eye on the front position. They cross the line with 58 minutes and 40-odd seconds left in this one, so we've got 2 more to go between these two absolute leviathans of the racetrack. P1 and 2 in the championship. It is reversed at the moment in the order, though. Dan Smith is just absolutely hounding him. Cook is just going defensive there. He doesn't need to. There is no move there, and he's revved as close as he can. I'll tell you what, there's more hits at the front end of that car for Elton John than he got blowjobs in his life. Look at that Mustang. It is 100% punted the wrong way. The gold erection there is full on bent, and it's all under Cook's pressure here at the moment. He's just got to put the brakes on a bit early. Here is Dan Smith applying the pressure again. A little bit wide there from the old Cook there. Oh, Smith is all crossed up too into Dandenong Road. Smith knows he's got the job done. Another 3 tenths advantage here for him into coming to the final 2 corners of the racetrack. Then, so I'll tell you what, Luke Fallon thinks he's won the race here. He's just trusting the lights as he comes across the line. It hasn't happened yet, son. Keep going, me old dear friend. You've got 1 more lap to go with 4 seconds left. These boys have still got 1 more transverse of the Sandown circuit to go. In fact, I think it is a bit over, actually. Christopher Munro,
one more lap. One more lap.
No.
Yep, one more lap to go. That was the white flag being yielded there from the track marshal through the start-finish box, and now it's 3/10 the difference between Cook and Smith here. Oh, there's a blue flagger just coming at the worst possible time. Here goes Smith, and he's just outbraked himself down there through turn 3, and needs to just redress that position. Can't take advantage through there, and that will be the end of that little battle there. I think 5/10 the difference is too much of a hill for him to climb, but Luke Fallon has had the race gifted to him at the front there from, I think it was a mistake from Dan Smith very early, and that just let Luke Fallon right there into the lead, and he will take the victory here in round 7. The 60-minute race goes to Luke Fallon. He had a week off there. He's come back fresh with new gear, new head on the shoulders, and takes a new P1 trophy for the cabinet.
Beautiful stuff there from Luke Fallon. Drove the most consistent out of everyone, and that is what you get. You're consistent, you're up the front 3, and that is what you get. You get a race win. Duffman, the bold beer fella, gets 2nd place. Cooked held on to 3rd place over Dan Smith. 1.2 seconds, the difference between those two after an absolute fiery final stanza there from those two in P3 and 4. Marshall gets 5th place, only half a second, mind you, behind Dan Smith after those two were battling as well. Hamilton, 6th place. Furby, 6/10 behind him, gets 7th. The Price is Wrong gets 7th place. Jake DeBetter did a great job and actually did better in this one. Gets himself further up the grid than where he started into 9th place. And Ding Dong gets 10th with Smith, Brittingham, Rogers, Green and Budgie rounding out that top 15 for that one, Christopher. That was a 60 minutes to remember.
Oh, it certainly was. And that battle for the ages there at the end between Cook and Smith. You don't get... Whoa, geez, I don't know who that was, just applying the blowtorch back down there into the fence. But wowee.